Congratulations to that 32-year-old who won the Little League World Series with a walk-off home run. It reminded me of travel team baseball whenever it is that we would go play Tamiami or Flagami when we were young. And the first baseman for the other team, I'd be 12 years old, would show up in his car with a cigarette and a beer.
My Little League World Series hopes were dashed by the Tamiami Titans. They were full of 16-year-olds who were eventually kicked out of the Little League tournament.
Correct. That is correct. Billy, did you
Hey,
travel?
Dan.
Where did you play Little League baseball?
I played at West Kendall Optimist.
Did you travel? Did that team travel?
Oh, no. Well, we did. Actually, we had one team that went undefeated. It was like the first. No thanks to me. I was Billy Bunt. We've already heard about those stories. But that's when I was, a master at bunting. That team was probably the team that I was closest at being competitive at, like being on a team that could play for the Little League World Series. But then the league banned our coach because they didn't like his practices. And he had previously been banned from Tamiami Park for similar practices. So, like, he was running out of stops at that point. And then I played at Glades for, like, a season. I was the Teal Sox because I didn't know how it worked when you were, like, youth baseball, where I guess you could use team logos and adopt their names as long as you just changed the colors of the team. Like, for example, I don't know. I guess that's how they skirted around things, because why else would the Oakland A's be purple? Why would the White Sox be teal when they're called the White Sox and we're using their logo, but our team is teal? Like, these things didn't make sense. Why were the Cardinals white? They just didn't have red anywhere in their uniform. White hats. Why would you have white hats in youth league baseball? And none of it made sense to me.
Do you remember my question?
I remember that the coach, I shouldn't say the coach. It was the assistant coach. I think his name was Scott of the Teal Sox. It was the time when, like, South Park was, like, really catching on. And I was maybe, like, 10 years old. So, like, 10-year-olds should not have been watching South Park. Ever, really, but like not at the beginning when things were wild.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at LeBatard Show. Should 10-year-olds be watching South Park?
So the kids on the team were in the dugout talking about South Park, and Coach Scott, who again was the assistant coach, had glasses, a bit of a nerd. So Coach Scott was talking about how, he watched South Park, but none of the kids should. And I'm like, Coach Scott, I feel like we're giving the wrong message here. Like, you shouldn't be talking to the kids about South Park while also hoping that they don't watch it. But I don't think Scott had many friends, so Scott just wanted to talk to anyone about South Park,
My question was whether your team traveled at all.
No, because our coach got banned from the league, so we couldn't travel. But that would have been the team to do it. But Lazaro, funny business. We've talked about Lazaro before, where he figured out a way to manipulate the draft in the most Lazaro coach way possible, where you had like protected picks and some coach decided to be cute and he decided not to protect his own son so that he could get Charlie Mack, who was amazing. And then what happened? Lazaro said, you know what? I'm going to pick that coach's son and I'm going to hold him hostage until I get the best player in the league. And that's why they didn't like Lazaro around those parts.
Coach
Cody, Eddie either.
Did you play travel baseball?
I play travel baseball?
Did you run into any of these Latin teams that had a kid like the kid who hit the home run to win the Little League World Series where you're watching it? Carl Ravitch is announcing, and he's saying,
Ravi,
can you play this sound for the people? Because this was exceptional timing.
Curacao has not allowed a home run at the World Series. Challenged him, and this game is over!
The kid is as big as Ohtani. I mean, listen to the sound. Listen to the sound that bat makes after Ravitch says that Curacao has not allowed a home run.
Curacao has not allowed a home run at the World Series. Challenged him, and this game is over!
Cody, did you run into any of those local Latin teams? Because I went in as some powerhouses. We had some powerhouses in our little Miramar division.
that kid was 6'1". I mean, serious, 6'1", for real. He is listed as 6'1".
Yes, I dealt with a lot of that. I never got
me.
never got a walk-off home run.
Everybody in the Little League World Series is taller than you, Stugotz.
I missed out on the walk-off. I never did it. I never got to celebrate a walk-off, a game-winning shot. That's got to be so cool. He peaked, though, right? This kid. It's not going to get better for this kid.
Oh, 100%. That's the highlight of his life. He's going to accomplish nothing.
Like,
respectfully to the
I'm
kid
worried
and
about it. If I'm his parents, I'm feeling bad. I'm like, oh, no.
You want to be a late bloomer or have a late bloomer because then they have to develop, like personality and character. If you're like the tall tall kid. You're just always going to be a tall kid. And then everyone's going to be like, oh, my God, you're so tall. You're so good at sports. And then you don't develop fully as a human being. And you're just like a doorknob to talk to. No one wants to talk to you ever. Sorry, kid.
You're not sorry.
I'm not really, if I'm going to be honest with you.
You can't say respectfully that kid has peaked. He will never do anything.
Chris said he peaked. I said this is the most he's going to accomplish.
I'll say
in his life.
disrespectfully. That kid peaked, and that's it. And I'm really worried about him. I'm really worried about that kid because imagine peaking at 13 years old and then knowing the rest of your life is downhill.
Well, he doesn't know yet. He'll learn.
He knows.
No, he'll learn when he's like 22.
He thinks there are better times ahead.
This kid thinks, oh, that's 100%. So sad. That sucks. I feel
so
so
bad
bad
to the majors. Yes.
And it's not rude, Dan. It's a numbers game. How many of these kids have you ever heard from?
Todd Frazier, that's it.
Exactly right. Like
Todd
every
Father.
Little League World Series, we hear about the
and
Todd
now he's
Father.
calling games for the Little League World Series.
I feel bad for him on that, too. Don't get me started on that. Guys make $40 million. Why is he wasting his time in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, calling little kids games?
It?
How about enjoy your family? You're
remembering
gone
the
for
peak
14
of his
years.
life.
Jeez, Todd Father. How about enjoy $40 million and not calling games of these little kids? The Little League World Series, I'm out. Creepy.
I wouldn't say it's creepy, but I also do not like it. Something just doesn't sit right about it. What? It just doesn't.
To me, the fact that he's 6'1"?
To me, it sits perfectly. It sits perfectly. I love it.
I think I wouldn't mind it if it weren't like so nationally broadcasted. Thank you. Or like if it were just something that like you could go to a YouTube stream and watch, I think I'd be fine with it. But it's like a moneymaker, and I don't like that.
How about some NIL deals for these kids? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that he would peak with that home run, I'd take it as a peak. I don't know that I've ever accomplished anything that would feel as good as that must have felt to that kid.
Yeah, in the moment, but now it's over. Now what does he have?
Right.
So are you willing to peak at 13 years old for that to be
I
the
think
peak?
Dan is
what's
saying
the
yes.
best it has to be?
Right.
What's the best it has to be to
I'm
peak?
saying that is a pretty good way
to peak.
To be someone who hits the home run, that wins the Little League World Series, that makes Carl Ravitch sound like a fool, that makes the bat makes that sound. I still remember a game winner I hit in intramural basketball.
Really?
I do. What is your?
Is there a witness?
What is your athletic achievement that you still remember, and how much better is it than my intramural game winner?
I had 6 threes in one game. It's still a record on Long Island.
It was 7 the last time you told us that you had the record.
It's been a while. That's it. I didn't peak then, though.
42 is the perfect age to peak. We can all agree.
Yeah.
42 is when you want to peak.
Solid age, yeah.
Yeah, like professionally, like
half your life is gone.
We want the best thing for this kid at 42. 13, it was great when it happened. No one's disputing that. But now what?
He's got an awesome fun fact for when he's 42 and has to introduce himself in a new job.
Good starter at 2 truths and a lie.
Was your game-winning bucket like a rebound? You put it back in? They didn't go to you for it. They didn't draw it up for you.
You weren't getting your own shot.
They didn't draw it up for me, but our big scorer was double, and so he made the smart pass.
Just imagine you in the corner,
wide open.
I was scared.
Yeah.
I was admittedly scared. I didn't expect it to go in.
I'm picturing Dan with like the step back, the Kemba Walker step back at the free throw line.
Get it to LeBatard. Get out of his way.
No, that's not.
Let him eat.
That's not at all how it went. I was in a panic. I did not know how much time was left on the clock. I was very relieved generally when the ball went in, and then I heard the buzzer. It was more relief than enthusiasm, really, because I shouldn't have been taking the shot. And you guys are right. You guys are right to say that there's a reason I was open and the reason that the double team wasn't anywhere near me. But again, as an athletic achievement, I've never felt better. Now, I had some nice moves on goal scores in soccer, but my dad would get mad at me because I wore a headband and wristbands, and he thought I was too flashy. So I'd get yelled at for being a showman.
It's so weird.
It is. I know. He knocked it out of me early. It led to a lifetime of repression. Incapable of showing much in the way of joy because you're going to get punished for it.
Just relief.
Just relief when you hit it was a little baby hook, too.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm terrified.
Were you showboating then? You could have just laid it in, right?
No, I wasn't close. Why do you have me so close to the basket?
I don't know.
I don't. You're
It has to be a
assuming-
putback. I'm with
you're-
Stugotz.
You're assuming
Putback,
it's a
yeah.
layup? You guys are
You have like a sky hook from like the 3-point line?
I had you as a guy they put under the hoop. Hey, go down there and get to work.
Garbage man.
Thank you, Stugotz.
I mean,
That's a loose ball that just ends up in your hands that you've grabbed off the ground and you're just tossing over your shoulder. And in your head, it's a baby hook, right? Like it's just a toss, not even looking at the rim.
Like you're afraid someone's coming, just threw it up in the air?
I want to
for
see
sure.
the footage. Yeah.
For sure. Ball's on the ground. Dan picks it up. He kind of sort of turns. Hey, I'll throw it up.
Right.
Oh my God, baby
Years
hook.
from now, I'll tell everyone it was a baby hook.
Yep.
Yeah. They won't know the difference.
10 years from now, it's a sky hook.
We have a number of
dunked it.
things to get to here. Lucy thought that week 0 of college football was great.
It was perfect.
Oh, it's great.
I am stunned that in the year of our Lord 2023, our United States military still thinks the way to do it is let's get 11 yards on 4 plays. Let's see if we can go down the field. let's see if we could just do this by getting 4th and 1, and then we'll get 2 yards. And when we need 2 yards, we'll get 2 yards. When we need 3 yards, we'll get 2 yards. When we need 4 yards, we'll get 2 yards.
I had a spicy idea this weekend that I'd like to share with you in regards to our armed services. I think we should re-implement the draft after games that they lose, and they're allowed to draft someone from any team that beats them. Just to improve, because we want the strongest, the brightest, the best people defending our country, right? So, like, if Notre Dame decides to get cutesy-wootsy and pound on the Navy or the Army or whatever, guess what? One of your players is up for grabs, and then they're part of the armed services moving forward.
Yep.
Only games that they lose.
Explain this concept
It's a
to
good
me
idea.
again.
Don't disrespect the military.
So if
Dan.
you lose to the Navy,
We
you're
want
safe.
the best of the best representing our country and defending us. So if they are not the best, they're allowed to take someone to make them the best.
And you're saying if Notre Dame loses to
No,
Navy?
if they beat them.
If they beat them.
Then Navy gets a Notre Dame football
If
player.
Navy or Army wins, they're the best of the best. They're
it's a
good.
great reward, sending him off to war. I did not see it, so I don't know if anyone in our crew saw it, but I'm trying to imagine a more awkward and symbolic ending to the Dolphins preseason than just ending it 8 minutes early because Davis is on a stretcher, hurt, and the coaches are like, okay, dangerous game. Let's save this kind of violence for the regular season. In the
games that count.
In the division of DeMar Hamlin, that's how the Dolphin preseason ends with, like, never mind, let's not play the last 8 minutes. Don't want someone else with prayer circles and an ambulance and a stretcher and wondering about their extremities. And I am perpetually conflicted about being excited for football and knowing that that's always there somewhere. But kind of amazing, Stugotz, that this Dolphin preseason, because I can't remember a season this century that came with this kind of hope and enthusiasm, where the Dolphins are acting and getting in the Jacobs talks and the Jonathan Taylor talks. We're a piece away. That's what they're saying in a division, Stugotz, that, this is amazing to say as well, we argued for 10 years about, is Ryan Fitzpatrick the answer for the Jets? Is he the answer for the Bills? Is he the answer for the Dolphins? Tom Brady owned the division, so there would be no quarterbacks who would get in the game. But now the third best quarterback in the AFC East is?
I mean, Tua.
I mean, statistically, last year, he was Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Now, you can doubt that, but numerically, when he was healthy, he was historically elite as a quarterback. And I want to go back on something as we talk about Tua. I want to go back to something last week that I found fascinating because I believe that this is as angry as you will ever hear Tua in public, the remainder of his career. This is not something that he usually does. Good timing, Chris Cody. This is
not your fault.
He is
that was me.
He is very careful. He is very polite. He is a sweet man, and he was clearly wounded, insulted, and hurt by Ryan Clark suggesting that he was out of shape. And it didn't sound right, honestly. It was like seeing a toddler with a machete. It didn't sound right to hear Tua struggle with he's been out of the league a long time and trying to insult Ryan Clark because it's not in his nature.
I mean, he probably knows more about me than I know about myself. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Ryan's been out the league for some time, so I don't know. It's a little weird when other people are talking about other people when they're not that person. So I don't know, it's just a little weird. I come back. I like my background is like I come from a Samoan family. Like respect is everything, but you know, does get to a point where, hey, you know, little easy on that, buddy, because you know I think we're pretty tough-minded people, and if we need to get scrappy, we can get scrappy too. Just saying.
How hard did you work in the offseason?
I mean, I think we all worked hard throughout the offseason. And I'm not someone to talk about myself the entire time, but I mean, it takes a lot. You think I wanted to build all this muscle? Like, nah. To some extent, like I wanted to, you know, I wanted to be a little lighter. There's a mixture of things that people don't understand, that people don't know about, that are talked about, that go behind the scenes. So, you know, I'd appreciate if you kept my name out your mouth. That's what I'd say.
Where did that start? The keep my name out your mouth? Who started that? Will Smith did it to Chris Rock. What? I don't know when that started, but you're looking for a fight when you say that expression.
You are, yeah. I mean, Tua was furious.
That is as angry as I think you will hear him his entire career. The Dolphins need to get a better table that's less hollow for him to hit when he's hitting it. But what do you think's happening there, Stugotz? Because I want to examine this. I was happy to hear Ryan Clark apologize. I don't think media members do that nearly enough. But what are your thoughts on why he's that angry?
Well, I think Ryan, first off, you're a former player attacking another player, saying he didn't do his job in the offseason, which is to get in shape. And Tua is upset by it because it feels like player-on-player crime. It does. It's Ryan Clark, really, Dan, if you watched it, it's him trying to make a joke that falls flat. It just falls flat. And sometimes when you're trying to make a joke, you run the risk of crossing the line and the joke becomes mean. And I think in that instance, that's what happened with Ryan Clark, and Tua did not take well to it.
This is what I believe happened. Tua cares deeply, and deeply generationally and culturally. What do you know about Samoans? What do you know about Samoans and football? You know toughness. You also know that's not the position they ever play. They play the positions usually that require extraordinary strength and toughness. Junior Seau, before this guy, Junior Seau was the representative for Samoan culture of what it was to be the best in that sport. Super tough and excellent. Tua is now at a skilled position, okay? And he is carrying the pride of his people into that huddle with a new tattoo sleeve that tells you all about his heritage, and you're questioning how much he cares? That storyline? Do you know what he's risking? You're going to question how much that dude cares when we know that just about more than anyone in the league, not named Hamlin, oh, shit, that's dangerous for him and his future and his brain. You're questioning how much he cares, and he's telling you, I didn't want to add 20 pounds of muscle, but I need to stop being thrown like a rag doll, like I'm a toddler out there, so I have to get physically larger. And so on a national platform, somebody questioning how much he cares brings out the fangs on a guy I didn't think would show them publicly, because he doesn't want to bring distraction to his position. And Samoan guys, what he told you there culturally, we're about respect. You don't see the Samoan football players in these kinds of controversies going back and forth with people.
It's also someone that has been dealing with criticism for 3 years, like since he stepped in the league. And he hasn't said much of it, so there's kind of like this assumption like, he must not hear it. But it seems like, just because that didn't seem like one that would set him off. It was a joke. It was weird that Ryan Clark compared him to a stripper in Atlanta. Like, it was an odd one to be the one to set him off. But it seems very much like this has just been building, and he's just tired of hearing the criticism, and he just doesn't want to deal with it
but
anymore.
I think it's that criticism specifically. I don't think it's actually fatigue from criticism. It's the not caring one.
Well, I think there's also this weird dynamic that exists where it seems like a lot of talking heads really like to go after Tua, and he has just remained silent, but they go after him in large part because the fan base has rallied around him so hard. We know Tuanon and the whole concept there, and it's like, because fans go so hard in Twitter mentions on behalf of Tua, while he's said nothing, he's become this sort of polarizing piece for sports media members to want to go after in a way that's sort of strange, because he hasn't said anything up until this point.
I don't actually believe it's gurgling over on criticism, even though I would understand how you arrive at that conclusion.
Oh, he's going to blow up at some point, Dan, and you don't want to see him when he's angry.
You're saying that that Ryan Clark is questioning the one thing you don't question about Tua?
It's just Samoan football players aren't really going to abide. You're not tough enough, or you don't care enough about football. When, if you know anything about what that sport means to it's so disproportionate, Stugotz. It doesn't even make sense, honestly, that there would be so many Samoan players, not at the skill positions, at the positions that require you to be tougher than other men. Like that there would be so many of them. It's disproportionate, and this guy is caring on behalf of his people who care about that sport. Man, I think I can get away with saying that Samoans care about football more than Americans do. I think I can get away with saying that.
I think Ryan Clark just wants him to care Samoa.
You gave him applause on that, Chris Cody?
He clapped.
Instead
of hitting the Hakeem Nicks laugh, you gave a.
Was it deserving?
You gave, yeah, it was.
Well, I like you let the Hakeem Nicks laugh comes a few. You don't give it right away. You let it. Like, what's he gonna do? What sound's he gonna hit? I was letting it breathe. Dan.
You don't clap first, though.
Would you want to see Ryan Clark and Tua actually fight? Because, like, in his apology, Ryan Clark was kind of like, if you want to fight, we'll fight. So would you want to see them actually fight each other?
Yes.
And, like, that's how this is resolved?
Box for charities, that was my call.
I do think there's something to what Billy is saying, where, the criticism of Tua, he is the most polarizing quarterback in the NFL. And he had a great season, played 13 games, was injured for 4, but he had a great season last year in those 13 games. And people still question his toughness, whether or not he's good, if he's great, and all that. I do think you reach a point where it's like, hey, I'm a quarterback in the NFL. I had a damn good season last year. Stop talking about me. Keep your name out of my mouth.
Great roll this weekend, by the way.
My name out of your mouth.
You know what I meant.
Did you see the roll? Oh, he's fixed.
I did see a lot of Dolphin fans celebrating, and this is pathetic. This is
the roll? It's a game changer.
Celebrating that our quarterback can fall down and get up.
Yeah.
Straight up, in my lifetime, in Dolphins
it's a big step,
history,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure one of the 5 most celebratory tones on the internet that I've seen is Dolphins fans after this preseason game celebrating Tua being able to roll.
Oh, did you see the side by side?
Yep.
Compared to last year, and he got a concussion, and this is almost the same. He rolled great.
They're winning the Super
roll.
Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling right to the Super Bowl.
They should put all the montages of him doing it to get your roll on. You get it? Like Get Your Roll On, the song. Like a
I love you, Chris.
montage
Well
on the
done.
internet.
You deserve that.
You don't deserve that. You don't. In fact, we need to take it
Everybody
away.
get your rolls on. And then he's rolling. Like, that would be a funny song to play underneath that.
We need to take away your ability to control the Hakeem Nicks laugh. You cannot be trusted with it. And you cannot give it to yourself.
Everybody get your roll on. Then another month, then he falls again.
Yeah.
And keeps rolling. Lucy gets it.
I liked it.
You think that I'm not getting it is my problem.
Because it was a song.
It's next level, Dan.
Chris Cody, can you please find for me in our library of sound, the former Dolphins fullback, Reagan Mawia, who once ran through a weight room wall, a very thin drywall, but nonetheless, before being drafted by the Dolphins, we got very excited about this when he ran straight through a drywall, and it sounded like this.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
Jeremy, would you do me the favor, please, of just looking up Reagan Mawia's career stats?
Yes, I will.
I want to know what kind of juggernaut he actually was.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
Who wouldn't get excited about that, though? Honestly.
It doesn't have much of anything to do with being good at football, being able to run through some very thin
Oh, he ran through a wall, Dan.
drywall.
Yeah. That's what football's all about.
Yes, but wait till we get to the career stats of one Reagan Mawia. I don't remember. Oh, wow. Jeremy's laughing.
It made me laugh.
So he played for Arizona and he played for the Dolphins. Who else did he play for?
Reagan Mawia had 4 attempts for 5 yards.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch!
For his career?
He wasn't there to gain yards, Dan. Yeah.
He also had 11 career targets, 6 receptions, 44 yards. 2 first downs.
He did better in the Arena League. He had 8 yards.
He had 4 catches. I'm sorry, 4 carries for 5 yards for his career.
4 carries for 5 yards, long of 3.
4 first downs, though.
Also
right?
a fumble.
6th rounder, though. I mean, any production out of the 6th round is good.
1.2 yards per carry. Juggernaut.
Played for 3 teams.
Stugotz, I know you don't like to be informed. I know you don't like to learn.
Yep.
I know that you don't like statistics.
It's not that he's not informed. He just doesn't like it.
Yes, correct.
He doesn't enjoy being informed.
He likes it, I mean.
What I should say, that's not entirely true. That's not entirely fair to Stugotz.
Oh, mostly.
He doesn't like doing the work necessary to be informed, but if I tell him something interesting about sports, he enjoys that information. He just doesn't enjoy doing the work for it. So I imagine, and you do God Bless Football, the award-winning God Bless Football with Billy Gill,
Yep.
the Nations, no, the Globes what is it, 5th ranked Football Insider, according to The Guardian.
I think he's up to 4. David Sampson at 9.
But the stats that I don't imagine that you would actually do this, but I think you would enjoy someone giving you an advanced stat of some sort that you would find intriguing. For example, Christian Wilkins of the Dolphins, who is holding out right now, is very important to the Dolphins' defense. I did enjoy Fangio's quotes to Dave Hyde of the Sun Sentinel talking about what kind of music he liked, and not surprisingly choosing music from the 60s and 70s, and then offering a little extra bonus opinion of not that noise they play in the locker room now. That's not music. That's just noise.
Classic Fangs.
Yes, that is classic Fangs. But Wilkins has the highest run-stop win rate for a defensive lineman, not just the Dolphins, since 2019. He stops, he wins his block on running plays more than 40% of the time. So if I say to you, Stugotz, are you interested in someone who is not, that's better than Aaron Donald on the run. Mm-hmm. But are you interested in knowing, as someone who doesn't like information, the highest pressure percentage last season among pass rushers? Is that something that you're curious about?
Sure.
At all?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Because Micah Parsons was number 1, far and away, by the way. Von Miller was number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals was number 3. Nick Bosa was number 4. And Justin Houston was number 5. I don't know where Myles Garrett is on that list. I think of Myles Garrett as one of those people. Those statistics that allow us to now know, right? Because the criticism on Wilkins is that he doesn't get enough sacks. It's hard to get sacks from the defensive tackle position. Aaron Donald is one of the few who actually does it. And it's harder than ever to get to the quarterback because they get rid of the football so quickly. But I would imagine, Stugotz, that these are the kinds of measurements that you would like to have when analyzing your football, because we have more measurements than we've ever had for this sport. Used to be that you never knew whether your offensive guard played well or not. You had no way of knowing, really, unless you saw penalty flags or his guy was getting all the sacks.
And really, outside of sacks, you had no way of knowing if your defensive line or defensive tackles were playing well. I mean, you just did. That was the only stat we used to measure them, But
sacks for Christian Wilkins, because there is a big problem here with this holdout. They need this football player. He is very good. And there seems to be quite the discrepancy in what it is he thinks he should be paid versus what they think he should be paid. What's it worth to be the best run stopper in the league by percentage since 2019?
In a passing league. It's worth a lot, Dan. Like anyone who watched the Dolphins last year, like he popped off your television. Christian Wilkins, for me, in many of the Dolphins games last year, was the best defensive player on the field. Both sides, he was. I mean, he was making tackles 10 yards downfield on guys running, on wide receivers, for crying out loud.
It's why I don't want them to go after Jonathan Taylor, because they have so many guys like him that they need to pay. They got to pay Javon Holland, Jalen Waddle. I don't want them spending it running back because they got a lot of, and he is, and like you said, he's so much better than his numbers are even, because he's just dominant, and he's just a great team guy. He's a guy that can be a Dolphin his whole career.
I'll tell you, it does feel good to have a debate about, there's too much talent that we have to pay now. Because how many years has it been since the Dolphins have had to worry about keeping a core intact?
Billy, I was wondering, because I'm assuming that the Bills are the favorite in the division, and you have been a Bills critic and hater for a while.
I don't know that's fair.
That's totally fair.
How so?
You said Josh Allen sucks last year. And you said that the Bills were going to choke like they always do.
And?
Mm-hmm.
Well, which is it? Are you
well,
right?
and,
or which is it? Are you the hater?
Yeah. But how did things end for the and?
Yeah, you were right, but you're a hater.
So,
but you're
I'm not a hater. I accurately
you're claiming you didn't even say
forecasted
it.
what would happen.
He's an expert.
Thank you.
Yep.
Someone gets it around here.
Plus 125 for the Bills.
I don't understand. If I just say they're not going to win the Super Bowl, I'm a hater.
You said they suck and Josh Allen sucks. That's what you
Well,
said.
I regrettably said that something about his face that I choose to forget is what I said.
That is what
Yeah.
you also said. You also said Josh Allen has a stupid face.
But that was taken out of context, and that got away from me.
It really wasn't taken out of context.
You know, Billy, I was up in the Buffalo area for a week, and I got to tell you, you walk into a Buffalo bar, okay? Bills fans love to talk. They love to chatter. They love to speculate. And so if you walk into a Bills bar and, you know, put your ear to the wall, okay, and really pay attention in between eating buffalo wings to what's going on.
Why am I putting my ear to the wall?
I feel like it's something you should do when you're trying to listen.
When you're in Buffalo, yeah.
Yeah, when you're in Buffalo.
That would make listening hard, I would think.
It probably would. It shut your ear down a little bit. I get it.
Are you in a different room from the people eating chicken wings? Like, are you? I think you've forgotten how to hear.
Those Buffalo bars do have different rooms. They are weird.
It's a weird room. You put your ear up to the
with a
wall.
glass sometimes, yeah.
And what you'll hear, Dan, is Bills fans talking, and this is what I heard. Okay, this is a scuttlebutt around Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, that entire area.
He was just there, Dan. So.
I was, yes, I was there reporting live for Meadowlark Media. I'll expense it, Dan. Here is what I heard. Bills fans are concerned that Josh Allen is too busy trying to find his significant other. He is too busy trying to fall in love and not paying enough attention to the NFL and his job as quarterback. It is a great take by Bills fans. I am lucky that I was in that sports bar at that time with those four dopes who were talking about it, but it's a great take. The guy is too interested in falling in love and not interested enough in being a great quarterback. How about that?
He just went through a breakup. I'm on Josh Allen relationship TikTok.
See?
He's dating Haley Steinfeld now.
Right. I mean, take a break.
Did you just say that he had to pay attention?
Yeah, that was.
They're not paying attention to him.
Yeah.
Why is there an ear to a wall?
It's Buffalo.
That's not an explanation.
You put your finger up to the wind. We don't put your
ear to the ground.
And your nose to the grindstone.
Right.
Yeah.
I never put my ear up to the wall, though.
But why the ground? I mean, and why not the wall?
What did they say exactly?
Well,
Just that, or did they get into more specifics?
They said they're concerned that Josh Allen is too interested, and he's crushed over this breakup and too interested in finding his significant other.
Well, he's found one in a celebrity. He's now in a celebrity relationship.
I know, but I mean,
the place that I was headed with this Bills story before we put our ear to the wall in a Buffalo sports bar.
Well, that's reporting, Dan. You came in here and you said Stugotz doesn't like to work, and then he came in with sources.
Yep.
They're like, why is that guy up against the wall?
The reason I went to you, Billy, on this is because, and unless this was a Photoshop to trick me, and it may have been, I think the Bills' indoor facility has a big mural that says Buffalo football with the Lombardi trophy, which they've never won.
Correct. We asked Von Miller about that last week. He didn't like that question.
So it's real.
Oh, it's real. Yeah, no, it's there.
But what?
That's the goal, Dan. They have to focus on the goal.
Yep.
They want to win it one day.
The only one not focusing is Josh Allen, according to Bills fans at a Buffalo bar.
It's like when you're running on the treadmill and you put the image that you want in front of you and you're running after it. That's kind of what they do with the Lombardi trophy, just like a big carrot in front of them.
Have you guys ever bought sure you have. So we'll just pretend that we haven't, but we all have because we're all out of shape. Ever bought like a motivation outfit? Like, I'm going to I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to look so good in this bathing suit and these swim trunks. And then it never fits because I get a size that doesn't fit. That's what it is for them. They have the trophy there and it's the motivation. That's what they want to get to.
I did that a year ago. I bought this outfit that I could never wear. It's such an asshole outfit. It's like a matching. It's like something I'd wear out to like a beach party. It's like a matching.
You
shirt,
said to yourself, one day I'll fit into that.
Button-down shirt, it's got sequenced, and then the pants got the same sequins on it.
Yeah.
I could never pull off this outfit.
Right.
But it's just there in my closet.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Well, why? What
It's a little
happened?
tight.
But why did you decide to do that?
Because I saw it on Instagram scrolling by. I'm like, I could do that. I need
Motivation.
I need some style in my life.
That's why I keep all my larges around.
Now I just look at that thing in the closet. I go, someday. Someday you.
Well, is it a size thing or a style thing?
It's a little size right now, but both. I could, even if I could fit into it, I can't pull it off. Like, it's something Tony would wear.
Well,
Hi, this is Bob Barker. Come on down to the Dan LeBatard show. Everybody gets that line wrong. One of you, when I first called, somebody said, the price is wrong. That's not where I did the line. Adam did the line. What I did, I said, you've had enough. And he started to get up again. I went back and I kicked him a few times. And then I walked away. I started walking away. And I said, now you've had enough. And then I turned and said, so my line was actually, now you've had enough.
Bob Barker with us on 790. Again, he raises millions.
No matter how they do the line, though, they always manage to get in.
If I were to walk into the well-to-do Bob Barker's home and you needed to impress a stranger with something that was in that home, Bob Barker would point to what in his house if you had to impress a stranger?
I have a great rabbit. He's just like a dog. He follows me around. He chews up everything. Mr. Rabbit. We're great buddies.
Is he well trained? Or does the rabbit come around when you're eating? Does it go to the bathroom in the house? How does that work? I've never.
He has a box. He goes to his box. He's a perfect gentleman. My housekeeper found Mr. Rabbit in a yard when he was just a baby and brought him home, and I kept him. And I went to a rescue group and got a female rabbit and named her Honey Bunny. So I had Mr. Rabbit and his Honey Bunny. Unfortunately, Honey Bunny died, and Mr. Rabbit's alone. I tried 2 other females, but he didn't like that. He wanted his Honey Bunny or nobody. So now he's alone, and he's my buddy.
It's a good run, man. 99 years old. If I say to you gold, silver, and bronze medalist of game show hosts, it's Trebek, it's Bob Barker, it's Sajak. Who else goes in there?
Howie Schwab.
Is that the strangest tribute to someone ever?
For sure. It was super unusual. Yeah.
We should have pressed him on it more. You
Honey
tried.
Bunny.
I mean.
Well, he joined Honey Bunny, so.
Yeah.
So I had Mr. Rabbit and his Honey Bunny.
Yeah. Who else? Is there a fourth? Is there a fourth game show host that we are finding that would crack the Trebek, Sajak, Bob Barker Holy Trinity?
Richard Dawson.
Oh, that is a good one.
Wink Martindale.
Wayne Wade.
Wink Martindale. I've heard a whole lot of people saying Wink Martindale is going to eat now that he's got Isaiah Simmons. That there's a Wink in there. There's a Wink.
Yes, there's a Wink Martindale who's a defensive coordinator. Yeah.
Who's the current host that will be the next generation of the Bob Barker? Who's the guy now that we will celebrate someday? I can't think.
Well, isn't Seacrest the one getting all the gigs?
Yeah, but
he has every job.
He's more of a host, not a game show
He
host.
will have a game show in 5 years that will become that for sure.
What about Steve Harvey?
Well, Seacrest is getting Wheel of Fortune, so he has it.
Well, there you go.
That is correct. Steve Harvey has entered the conversation. I don't know that he has quite yet.
Oh no, he's good.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's not good. I will stop. That is one of the few things on network television that I will stop almost every time on because he is excellent. I'm not disputing that he's excellent. I just don't think that he's got the kind of longevity to enter the conversation that we're presently having right now about people who did it for 40 and 50 years and I don't even know if you can be one of the greatest game show hosts ever if you're not the best in the history of your own show.
Right.
He's creeping up on it, though.
Yeah, but he'll never be better than Richard Dawson. That's Dan's point.
I'm not sure that's true, actually. Richard Dawson was lecherous. That's a different time, man.
Yeah.
He was kissing everybody on the lips.
Yeah.
I feel like we're having a conversation about Shohei Ohtani versus Babe Ruth, where it's we're talking about different eras here. This is not necessarily the same level of television. Also, longevity is not going to be the same part of it because people now, same careers. Everybody jumps around.
Wait till this strike keeps going with the writers and the actors. All that's going to be on your television is game shows, is cheap ass game shows.
I'm good with that.
Same.
Who do you want to see host a game show that hasn't yet? Who out there exists that off the top of your head, you're like, oh, this is the guy or gal that I want to see host a game show?
What are you asking us? What you think?
Is that a bad question?
Yeah, I mean,
to see some talent.
You think all of it? You want us to be scouts? You believe that we think there's a prospect out there that needs some grooming, needs some seasoning, needs a little bit of fertilizer, and that there are people out there saying, you know what, he or she might not be ready now, but someday I believe that person will be excellent.
Yeah, you got it, Dan.
I got one. Kyle Brandt, NFL style game show.
Very good.
Nate Burleson.
I have a question for you guys. So is like a reality competition count as a game show? So like if you host a cooking show, is that a game show? Like Will Arnett hosts a show about Legos. Is that a game show?
Are cooking shows game shows? I guess if they're competitions, right?
But I don't think it's a game show. It's more skill-based, where I feel like game shows aren't skill-based. It's more like luck-based / trivia-based.
Fresh your luck, yes.
What would be the genre of a cooking show? Is it just reality television? It's not like if it's a competition.
Reality competition? Is that what it is? Is that its own genre?
There's different genres of reality television. It would be like
a subgenre of reality.
Competition-based, cooking.
I don't think cooking shows are game shows. Put it on the poll, please,
They're not.
Juju, at LeBatard Show. Are cooking shows considered game shows?
What about singing competitions? Are those game shows? Because
No.
we're just asking for the
They're competitions, Billy.
Well, the question is just to know if the host of one of these shows then could be on our list of up-and-coming game show hosts. You know what I mean?
And it brings us back to Seacrest, because he was originally American Idol.
Like Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon doesn't host a game show yet, does he? But he hosts all these other reality-based competition shows. Nick Cannon is my nomination.
Guy Fieri?
Nah.
Nah.
I feel like we're on the back nine of Guy.
Greg Cody?
Not that he's dying, but...
Greg Cody would be a great game show.
No, he wouldn't.
Oh, yes, he
no,
would.
he would not.
Yes,
he would be
would.
truly
He
terrible.
is
wrong.
It would be Bible Bunkers if Greg Cody was hosting.
Well, he
the
is
show.
hosting our Sueies, so I guess
The Sueies begin today, do they not?
they do. Very excited about that.
What are the categories today?
Did I do that on air? Sorry.
Yeah.
$5.
Uncomfortable moment and dismissal. And my dad's very excited about it. He even has his musical number ready for us right now.
And now it's time for the Sueies. The Sueies. Enough to make you go ooey. It's a waltz through the program's past year, full of merriment and good cheer. With the categories we hope you'll be smitten. They're fun like clicking columns Greg Cody's written, 'cause it's the Sueies. Sueies. Enough to make you go ooey.
Guy is good.
I'm really worried about our future as a show.
Why?
We even had the musical accompaniment.
That is not good.
Mr. Rabbit, we're great buddies.
That's how we decided to remember Bob Barker, a legendary.
It's all we got, man.
It's not all we got. It's not all we got. We had a library of things to go to, and that's what we chose. We had a number of people throughout the cosmos that we could have gotten to host the Sueies. We got Greg Cody singing terrible songs. Joe Pampliano, Stugotz, is reporting that Lionel Messi, this is what he has meant to Inter Miami in terms of revenue. They have not lost yet. It is ridiculous. I'd love to talk to somebody about what this is the equivalent of. Is this the equivalent of LeBron going to play in the Taiwanese league or the G League? Like, what is the equivalent? You're not supposed to.
Or Cleveland?
Goals are hard to come by. You're not supposed to score them in every game. But he has been worth to Inter Miami an annual revenue now of $200 million, which is 4 times what they made last year. It would be a record in the MLS, obviously, but it's like what Newcastle makes. He has immediately turned Inter Miami into a giant business, and it makes me wonder, Stugotz, if all of our very best athletes, maybe outside of baseball, are underpaid when they can be worth that much. Certainly in the salary cap sports, if you don't create a bidding war for Patrick Mahomes, you're getting him cheap. In basketball, all of these guys, even the $300 million Supermax guys, you only have a couple of stars. All of them are underpaid. Or if they're not.
Dan, if you put Giannis in a free market and let teams just offer him as much as they want, yeah, he's underpaid. There's no question he's underpaid.
Maybe baseball players aren't, but they have been until now, until the dawning of the $200 million contract.
But I have a serious question. I'm not doing the soccer thing here. It's a serious question as it relates to Messi. Because this never happens in soccer, where you have a guy scoring basically a goal plus per game, right? Like, is he playing inferior talent? Like, is this the equivalent of Patrick Mahomes playing in the XFL? Dan, I feel like it is. You never see soccer players do this. You never see them score at this kind of rate, at this kind of clip. And Messi, it's been impressive, but I do wonder if he's playing against inferior talent.
You don't have to wonder. He is. That goes without saying.
So how impressive, how impressive is it then? When you consider that, when you factor that into the equation.
Stugotz, I'm not as impressed by the goal scoring as I am the phenomenon that he has made this club. You've got famous people.
Crazy.
The way the tickets are selling when he goes on the road, you have dropped a dollop of a guy who should be past his prime. He was at the height of his leverage, best player in the world, coming off of a World Cup, nothing left to accomplish. And it does feel like if Chris Cody right now just wandered over to a T-ball field and started,
or a Little League World Series game, maybe.
It feels too easy. It does.
When you were gone, Chris said that was one of his dreams, was to get 2 at-bats in a Little League World Series game. Now, today.
1, I might strike out. I just need 2. Give me that second chance. He's not getting me twice.
So you want 2 at-bats, and you imagine what it would be, and what it would be is you just poke a dribbler into right field.
Yeah.
Second at bat.
In my mind, it's that game-winning home run that we heard earlier.
A hard hit ground ball between the shortstop and the third baseman.
Just hit the third baseman's shin with the ball, and I feel bad about being out there.
Run to second on the bad throw.
How pathetic would you feel about your wish when you've wished for this as a lifelong dream and you get a walk and a hit by pitch?
Then I would have peaked.
On base percentage, though. I mean.
It would be, though. The thing is that no matter what the competition is, anybody listening to this, anybody who cares about sports, it would be the greatest thing to just be Messi right now, playing against people are not as good as you are.
This is easy.
But it's how he's been his entire life, like his entire soccer life. What does he want? Those 7 of those "I'm the best player in the world" trophies?
But I feel like he goes home after the game and he tells people that he loves, hey, these guys suck.
He's like playing softball at Flanagan High School.